Hi, this is Janos, the channel Real World Audio, which is a channel for audio education, and I'm not selling any products, not have not invested anything into audio, so what you are hearing are my experiences, the distillation of what I have experienced, and I'm sharing it so you can go further than where I did, and hopefully what I have experienced will help you and make your journey easier. And this bit that I'm talking about, I'm right now, this is a mini series describing my audio system, is the grand tour of my audio system, and I'm continuing about the heart of my system, my single-ended amplifier. And this is a Flea power amplifier which currently puts out an incredible 1.2 watts per channel into these giant speakers. And then you think like, what can 1.2 watts do with those speakers? And yeah, if it's 1.2 watts, the sound pressure level is 103 dB per meter. And those 1.2 watts per channel are enough for, let's say, a live Pink Floyd concert feel in my home. And yes, you would say, well, a live Pink Floyd concert is probably hitting 120 dB. Yeah, you are right, absolutely right. The live concerts have much louder volumes, and you are also absolutely right that after a live concert, you maybe for a day or maybe for a week, you will have hearing problems. The goal for my system building is not to develop hearing problems, not to lose my hearing, and not to start a fight with my neighbors so they call the cops on me. By the way, if you play way too loud, then here the police can confiscate your stereo system. So that it has never been my goal, and lo and behold, even at 100 and few dB per meter peak volume, this amplifier is capable of giving back that exhilaration, that rush of adrenaline, that feel, the exact same feel that I'm feeling when I'm at a live concert. And that is even better to me because I can have that experience without blowing my eardrums. Isn't that just a dream? Yes, that's a dream, and that's really happening. And that's what I've noticed is that that is something nearly impossible to attain for yourself, but it can be done. And how do you would ask how one can achieve that experience with such low power? And that's because the main limitation for amplifiers is actually not the actual output power they have, but the power supply. And also for tube amplifiers, the output transformer. So basically two things. One of them is if the output transformer is undersized or insufficient for the tube amplifier, then when even though it can put out a lot of power, but you will have a lot of transformer compression, and that's because there's magnetizable material inside the transformer, and if you are pushing too much power through it, then that magnetizing potential is exceeded, and you do not have enough magnetic domains to respond to the small fluctuations in the signal. The core is going to saturate, and the core saturation is happening way earlier than anyone would think in their worst nightmares. So what am I doing here? As you see, this 1 watt per channel amplifier has 30 watt iron, so they are rated for 30 watt output power, and they are also rated at 120 milliamps of idle current, and I'm pushing 26 milliamps of idle current through them. So basically what this translates to is that when I'm hitting peak signals, I am using 1% of the reserves of the output transformer. So it means that I am never ever going to anywhere close to not even using a fraction of the core, let alone core saturation. So that's a monumental change, and for those people who don't like tube amplifiers because they don't have enough power, it's not that they don't have enough power, it's simply that usually the output transformers are way undersized. So for example, if you have a tube amp that, let's say, has 100 watts per channel, then for that you would need 1,000 watt, 1,000 VA core output transformer, or even larger. Or if you want to keep this ratio, then you would need a 10,000 VA core output transformer for a 100 watt output amplifier to keep the same quality, to keep the same headroom as this amplifier has. And as we know, it is not possible to build a 10,000 VA high quality output transformer, and it would weigh a pair of them would weigh maybe as much as a lighter car. So it's not something that's possible to do, and with that size, of course, it would have 0 high frequency extension. So it's not possible to do this with high power tube amplifiers. So the only way to keep this immense headroom is to have very low output power. And so how does this work out for me? Because I have these Mirages here who are very low efficiency loudspeakers. They are under 90 dB, they are about 89 dB per watt meter. And with this Flea Power little lady here, actually they put out 1.2 watts into the 16 ohms impedance of the big speakers, but the small ones are 6 ohms, so they put out a little bit more power. They put out 3 watts peak into these. So basically you are talking about a little more power than a Deckware Zen has, like 50% more power. However, what the Deckware Zen doesn't have, the Deckware Zen has really tiny output transformers and really tiny power supply. So the Deckware Zen's transformer complement is really like a 2 watt transformer complement, and here we have like a 30 watt transformer complement for the output transformer, and a 500 plus watt complement for the power supply. So the power supply is just absolutely monstrously oversized, so like 250 times oversized power supply for the amplifier. And these two, the oversized iron, are the key for the immense dynamic headroom this amplifier has. And of course I cannot play louder than 100 and few dB, but that is plenty enough to have an experience that feels like live music. So for example, with these speakers, it cannot play not even 100 dB live, but I can play Cranberries through these speakers, and it feels like I am at a live Cranberries concert. and it has the same energy, same feel to it when I was in my university years and went to concerts which were in the basement under the university's library, and there were like rock bands, punk bands playing there, and the same feel and energy does come through these speakers paired with a Flea power amplifier that has monstrously oversized transformers. So this is my message with my sweetheart, is that if you want headroom, if you want dynamics, if you want live, then the method is not to go for high power. The method is to go for oversized transformer complement, so that you get enough juice into the unit, and then the juice coming from your unit to the transformer also doesn't have any bottlenecks. The evil in the audio is not the transformer, the evil is the undersized transformer, which is the case for 99.99% of audio gear that you can buy commercially. Almost every commercial tube amplifier is monstrously undersized in the transformer department, and the only reason for that is money. And in other words, the only reason is that the product will be affordable for you to buy. And if it's unaffordable, then main reason for that is they are using transformers that give headroom, and they cost a lot of money. However, what I have done is that I am using a lot of vintage iron, a lot of so for example, that big one is like a military surplus iron. That's also a vintage choke there, and inside the chassis I have a whole complement of chokes and transformers, and some of them are military surplus, and the chokes are Hammond chokes, which are really cheap, but regardless of the cheapness, they work still really well. These output transformers are Edcore output transformers. I had them specially designed by Edcore for me, which they were really happy to do at a very little price. They asked just $20 design fee for the extra troubles for these transformers, and they were just about $120 each. Ridiculously cheap price, ridiculously cheap, and they sound really good. And no, they are not Hashimoto's, they are not Tangos, they are not Tamuras, but they have made a tremendous improvement from the entry-level Hammonds that I have been using for a very long time. But that story is for another day. How come I have been using really modest transformers, while when you look into audio reviews and everything, you see like Tango transformers left and right, and all fancy names, and but yeah, those transformers cost a really lot of money, big money. And for the first decade of my systems development, I was extremely starved for cash and for reserves that I could purpose for audio. So I would say 95% or more of my choices I had to weigh really heavily how much one change cost, and I had to find out ways how to deal with it, and for me, how to use a cheap part and get more out of it than anyone has before. That has been my main challenge, and I think there I have made tremendous breakthrough. And yes, it's true that if you have like a Tango transformer, you have a very easy job from the start, but then most people who go that way, you just go very lazy and forget about basics, forget about the small details, and you will hit a limit with your system development very, very soon, because I was forced to explore such areas, such part of amplifier building and system synergy that most people who are audio builders here in the United States or Western Europe or in Japan, they were never forced to do, because people just sucked up to it, put aside their money, and they just bought the more expensive parts, and that's how they developed their system. I did not have that luxury. I really and of course I also really enjoy to explore how to find out these unexplored areas on how to improve things. And now actually I could afford to put Hashimoto's here, or maybe Tangos or Tamuras, but to tell the truth, I don't feel the need to do that anymore, because what I am getting from Sweetheart is really what's in my heart is being mirrored by my amplifier, and this amplifier has given me more joy than any other amplifier in the world, and I would not change it for anything. I hope this was a little bit useful, but I still have not told you what were the changes that I made to it over the years and how come I have made a full circle. That will be part of the next episode, and you will be enjoying that, unless you have already fallen asleep from this very, very long saga. So thank you for bearing with me, and please like and subscribe if you haven't done so. And if you are wondering why I'm not making videos, why YouTube is not showing them, and the answer to that, I am putting out usually one video a day, and if YouTube is not anxious to share them with you, share you the news that I have posted something, just look at my channel homepage and look at the hundreds of videos I have there. And if you find my stuff interesting and educational and informative, maybe transformational, then just start watching my older videos. They will be just as exciting and as timely as my video today. So thank you. Bye bye.